Good morning, students. So our today's topic is Avogadro hypothesis or Avogadro's law, or you can say Avogadro's principle. So there are two laws we studied in the previous lectures. That is, first one is Gay-Lussac law and second one is Dalton atomic theory. So Gay-Lussac law tells us about the gases, that gases always combine with one another in a simple ratio by volume or or volume ratio. Or Dalton atomic theory tells us about that elements combine with one another in a simple whole number atomic ratio. It means that by atoms, you can say, by using atom or by atoms. So this is by Gay-Lussac law, this is by Dalton's theory. So Berzelius is a Swedish chemist which thought that there is a relationship between volume and atoms of a particular gas. So he gives the hypothesis: equal number of volumes or equal volumes of all the gases under similar condition of temperature and pressure contains equal number of atoms. It means if you are giving A and B and volume of this is taken as 2 volume and 2 volumes of B are used. So if A contains 50 atoms, then it means B also contain 50 atoms when they are taken at same temperature pressure conditions. So this is according to Berzelius. So but there is a limitation of Berzelius, that he tells us that atoms are there, equal number of atoms. But as we take the example of hydrogen and chlorine, as you know, one volume of hydrogen combine with one volume of chlorine to form 2 volume of HCl, that is hydrogen chloride solution. Chlorine, hydrogen gives you 2 volume of HCl. So it suppose n atoms of hydrogen are combining with n atoms of chlorine to form how much atoms? How many atoms? 2n atoms. If n is combined with n atoms to form 2n atoms, so here if we want to conclude that one atom of HCl is formed, that is one compound atom is formed, so it means we are using half atom of chlorine and half atom of hydrogen. So try to concentrate. If we are using n atoms of chlorine or hydrogen combined with each other, n atoms of hydrogen and n atom of chlorine combined with each other to form 2n atoms of HCl. So if we want to take one atom of HCl, so it means we are using half atom of H2 and half atom of Cl2, or you can say half atom of hydrogen and half atom of HCl. But this is against the Dalton's law, because half atom cannot exist. So this limitation can be removed by the Avogadro's, which differentiate between atom and molecule. This is the basic or ultimate particles. These are the ultimate particles of matter, atoms and molecules. So Avogadro tells us that an atom is the smallest particle of an element which take part in a chemical reaction, but it may or may not be exist as independent existence, or you can say it may or may not be exist as independent atom. So atom may or may not exist, but molecule must exist as independent. So molecule have independent existence, but atom do not have independent existence, may or may not have. So sometimes it have, sometimes it may not have. So by using these differentiation, Avogadro hypothesis is given that equal volume of all gases under similar condition of temperature and pressure contains equal number of molecules. Molecules are there, but in Berzelius hypothesis we use number of atoms, and in Avogadro's hypothesis we used number of molecules. Wait for a second. Here you can see so in according to Avogadro's, equal volume of contains, or equal volume of gases under certain conditions contains equal number of molecules. So this is the advantage to Avogadro. Here if we use hydrogen and chlorine to form HCl, so 1 volume of hydrogen and 1 volume of chlorine used to form 2 volume of HCl. So you can write n molecules of hydrogen combined with n molecules of chlorine to form 2 n molecules of HCl, or that is hydrogen chloride. Or if we want to form 1 molecule of HCl, we are using 1/2 molecules of hydrogen and 1/2 molecules of chlorine. So now this is not against Dalton theory, because half a molecule can exist. Now applications of Avogadro's law. So there are applications. First application is in the calculation of atomicity of elementary gases. Atomicity. Now atomicity means number of atoms of the element present in one molecule. For example, like oxygen has 2 atomicity. Ozone has 3 atomicity. Hydrogen has 2 atomicity. And sodium has 1 atomicity. So these are the atomicity, and now by using the Avogadro's hypothesis, we find the atomicity. So here you can see 2 volumes of hydrogen are combining with 1 volume of oxygen to form 2 volumes of water vapors. So 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen combined to form 2 volume of water vapor. So if we are using 2 n molecules of hydrogen, it means we are using n molecules of oxygen, because they are half. So and 2 n molecules of water vapor. So 1 molecules of hydrogen, half molecule of oxygen gives you 1 molecule of water. So if we are reacting 1 molecule of hydrogen to form 1 molecule of water, so we use half molecule of oxygen. So it means, and you can conclude, 1 molecule of water contain half molecule of oxygen. 1 molecule of water contain half molecule of oxygen. And you can also see 1 molecule of water contains 1 atom of oxygen. But 1 molecule of water contain 1 atom of oxygen. So if here we are comparing 1 molecule of water, means let us suppose 1 molecule of water A and half molecule of oxygen is B. A is equal to B. And again we are saying 1 molecule of water, that is A, is equal to 1 atom of oxygen, it means C. If A is equal to B and A is equal to C, then by comparing B is equal to C, or you can say half a molecule of oxygen is equal to 1 atom of oxygen. So by rewriting half molecule of oxygen is equal to 1 atom of oxygen. So 1 molecule of oxygen contain 2 atoms of oxygen, just as multiply. So it means atomicity is 2. So in this way we calculate the atomicity. To find the relationship between molecular mass and vapor density, vapor density has some formulas you are seeing. Density of any gas upon density of hydrogen. So hydrogen is taken as a reference here. So this is the formula of vapor density, and from density we are going to mass of certain volume of the gas at STP. STP is standard temperature pressure. So standard temperature pressure are mostly the room temperature and 1 atmospheric pressure. So in the denominator we are taking hydrogen, and in the above side or in the numerator we are using any gas for which vapor density has to be found. So mass of certain volume, we go to mass of n molecules of the gas upon mass of n molecules of hydrogen. From n molecules we are going to 1 molecule. So mass of 1 molecule of the gas upon mass of 1 molecule of H2. Now mass of 1 molecule of gas is known as molecular mass, and mass of 1 molecule of hydrogen is 2. It is calculated. So vapor density and molecular mass has a relation of molecular mass is equal to 2 into vapor density. So vapor density is also called relative density of the gas, because density of one gas upon density of other gas can be written as, or can be said as, relative density. So to find the relationship between mass and volume of gas, m and v of a gas, so this is very important, or this always has to be keep in mind. So molecular mass is equal to 2 into vapor density. Vapor density can be written as mass of certain volume upon mass of same volume of hydrogen, and from certain volume we go to the value of 1 liter, we go to 1 liter, mass of 1 liter of gas upon mass of 1 liter of hydrogen, and from there mass of 1 liter of any gas at STP is not known to us. So but the mass of 1 liter of hydrogen 0.089. So again, by dividing 2 by 0.089, we get 22.4. So 22.4 into mass of 1 liter of gas, we multiply this number into inside, so we can write mass of 22.4 liter of gas at STP will always equal to, or will always give the molecular mass. So molecular mass of any gas will be equal to, or is equal to the mass of that gas when we take 22.4 liter of that gas and weigh it. If we weigh any gas at standard temperature pressure and we take the volume 22.4 liter, so the mass will be equal to its molecular mass. So this can be written as 22.4 liter of any gas at STP weighs equal to the molecular mass of the gas expressed in grams. This is known as gram molecular volume law. So this is again another law, gram molecular volume law. So section 8th is there, atomic and molecular masses and mole concept. So relative atomic masses. So an atom is very small. It cannot be seen with the naked eye, even it cannot be seen with some better microscopes, cannot be seen. So how can we measure the weight of that particular atom? We cannot take an atom and weigh it on a weighing machine. So for this we are taking a reference, or we are using Avogadro's hypothesis. So what we are doing, we are taking two gases, like let us suppose hydrogen and oxygen. We are taking two gases at same conditions of temperature and pressure and same volume of both the gases. Then if we are taking same volume of the gases under similar conditions, then the mass or the ratio of their masses is fixed, always found in the fixed ratio, that is 1:16. So we take one, or we can say atoms of oxygen are 16 times heavier than the atoms of hydrogen. Or you can say an atom of oxygen is 16 times heavier than the atom of hydrogen. So we take hydrogen as a reference here, and after by taking hydrogen as a reference, many of the elements get fractional mass. So this is a limitation. So we neglect hydrogen as a reference. So we take oxygen as a reference. So that again neglected. So at last carbon 12 is taken as reference, because by using the carbon 12 we get the whole number values, or you can say in a decimal place values, but not much complicated values. So carbon 12 is taken as a reference. So you can see here, atomic mass of an element is the number of times an atom of that element is heavier than at an atom of the carbon, taken as 12. If we are taking carbon 12, so mass of any element, let us suppose that carbon has 24 gram mass or 24 mass, and A has 48. The ratio of their masses is 48:24. It means 1:2. It means mass of A is heavier than mass of A atom is heavier than 2 times than atom of carbon. So the mass of A will be 2. This is atomic mass. One atomic mass unit, this is unit of particular masses. So 1 AMU is known as is equal to 1/12 of the mass of an atom of carbon 12 isotope. If we are having any mass of, or we can say mass of an atom of carbon isotope is 12. So one atomic unit can be written as 12 where 12 is equal to 1. So one atomic mass unit is equal to the 1/12th part of mass of an atom of carbon. So this is atomic mass unit. So there are two scales, physical scale and unified scale. So unified scale is used in today's, because in this unified scale we use exact values or exact taking mass of isotope as exactly 12. We are taking carbon 12 here. So so we write U instead of AMU. AMU is atomic mass unit. So nowadays we used U as used as a unit of particular mass of an element. Now isotopes are there. Isotopes have same atomic number but different mass number. So what we are saying that chlorine has 35 mass, chlorine 37 mass. Now what will we say, or what we conclude, that we take average mass of both the isotopes. So average, we can conclude average mass. So 35 isotope always have 3 ratio and 37 isotope always have 1 ratio. So you can multiply 35 into 3 plus 37 into 1 upon the sum of the ratio. So we calculate as 35.5. So this is the average mass of chlorine. So this is used as the mass of chlorine atom. So that's all for today. In the next lecture we will, you can see here the definition, you can see the definition. Atomic mass of any element is the average relative mass of atoms as compared with an atom of carbon 12. So this is the definition. This is all for today. In the next lecture we will do gram atomic masses or the other units. So thank you.